In this footage released by the U.S. Coast Guard, officers can be seen intercepting a Narco submarine. While a maritime patrol aircraft was monitoring the Pacific coastline, the crew noticed the faint outline of a submarine moving underwater. They immediately informed the Coast Guard, and within minutes, 2 boats and a helicopter arrived at the location. The video shows the Coast Guard team getting extremely close to the sub. But the smugglers inside seemed completely unaware of their presence. The officers forcibly opened the hatch and arrested the traffickers. Inside the Narco sub, they found 3,000 kilograms of cocaine that was being quietly transporting from South America to the United States. This vessel was one of nearly 200 Narco submarines captured by authorities between 2006 and 2025. But these are only the ones that were caught. Every year, countless such submarines manage to deliver illegal drugs into the U.S. without anyone noticing. So how do narco submarines operate? Why are they so difficult to detect? And where are they actually built? Welcome back to another video by ZIMVOICE. Drug smuggling is something every country has tried to combat for decades. Many dedicated agencies have been formed, and ever-advancing technologies are deployed to catch traffickers. Yet, nations like the US and several European countries still haven't been able to completely stop the flow. The biggest reason: major drug cartels constantly innovate and stay ahead of law enforcement strategies. South America has long been the hub of illegal drug production, mainly because its climate is ideal for growing coca plants. Today, Colombia is the world's biggest producer of cocaine. In fact, around 90% of the cocaine seized in the U.S. traces back to Colombia. Peru comes next, followed by Bolivia. These 3 countries form what experts often call the golden triangle of cocaine production. Nearly 99.5% of the world's cocaine is manufactured here. Over the decades, smugglers used many methods to move drugs from South America to Central America and Europe. In the 1960s, when restrictions were loose, traffickers simply packed drugs inside luggage and flew on regular passenger flights. When that became risky, they began using cargo ships. Because the profit margins were enormous, cartels upgraded again, this time using small Cessna aircraft in the 1980s. These planes took off from Colombia and landed on secret airstrips hidden on Caribbean islands or deep in Central American jungles. This was the era when Pablo Escobar's Medellin cartel controlled nearly 80% of the global cocaine trade. His associates, including Carlos Leda, turned islands like Norman's Key into smuggling hubs. But soon, radar technology improved, and authorities began detecting these small planes. Cartels then switched to high-speed boats, custom-modified with powerful engines that could outrun the Coast Guard. For a while, these worked well, but the U.S. and its allies increased coastal patrols and radar coverage, making it easier to spot even these fast vessels. By the 1990s, both air and sea routes became too dangerous for large-scale shipments. This forced cartels to innovate again. They needed a vessel that could travel long distances, carry tons of drugs, remain hidden from radar, and evade patrols. This need gave birth to narco submarines. Made mostly of fiberglass, these vessels have a very low radar signature. While boats had limited cargo space, these subs could carry between 5 to 10 tons of cocaine. For years, anti-narcotics forces didn't even know how Central America was receiving such huge shipments. This secret network was exposed only in 2006, when the first narco submarine was captured. During an aerial patrol near Costa Rica, Coast Guard officers spotted 3 plastic pipes sticking out of the water. This turned out to be a 50-foot vessel made of wood and fiberglass. Although authorities had heard rumors of such submarines, it was their first time actually seeing one. How are these submarines built, and how far can they travel? Authorities have identified 4 types of narco submarines. 1. Low-profile vessel, LPV. Most of the vessel stays underwater, with only a small portion visible above the surface. Usually around 14 meters long, it can carry up to 7.7 tons of cocaine. These are used mostly for short routes between South America and Central America. Two transatlantic semi-submersible A larger, more advanced version, over 20 meters long, divided into 3 compartments. Engine, crew, and cargo. With 20,000 liters of fuel, it can travel extremely long distances, even from Brazil to Europe. These vessels do not use GPS. The crew navigates using a simple compass. 3. Snorkel sub. This resembles a true submarine and can dive fully underwater. Only a snorkel pipe remains above the surface to bring in air for the diesel engine and crew. It has ballast tanks that allow it to dive deeper in emergencies. No such sub has ever been caught at sea. 4. Electronic unmanned submarine, the most advanced type, 12 meters long, fully electric, no engine noise, and virtually undetectable by sonar. Its range is only 60 km, so it is usually towed by a larger ship. If authorities approach, the towing line is cut, allowing it to disappear underwater. So far, these have never been intercepted while operating. Only abandoned models have been found in jungles. Inside these submarines, the crew has a tiny washroom, basic sleeping space, and energy bars for food. Where are these submarines built? Most are constructed in hidden shipyards deep inside South America's dense jungles. These areas are so remote that reaching them is nearly impossible. The vegetation is thick enough to hide them from satellites, drones, and helicopters. Each submarine can cost up to a few $1 million, but this is nothing compared to the value of a 10-ton cocaine shipment worth around $400 million. That's why most narco subs are designed for one-time use. After completing a mission, crews open a valve and intentionally sink them so authorities can never trace them. Sometimes, if they realize that the Coast Guard is closing in, smugglers purposely flood the sub to destroy evidence, then escape through emergency exits. Before 2008, U.S. law stated that sinking vessels must be treated as rescue cases, which made prosecution harder. Although the law has changed, criminals still sink their subs to reduce evidence and possibly receive lighter sentences. That's why most narco submarines end up at the bottom of the ocean, whether successful or caught. How did authorities learn all this? In 2022, a major breakthrough came when Oscar Morno Ricardo, known as the king of narco submarines, was arrested. He wasn't a trafficker, but a master engineer who designed and built these stealth vessels for major cartels in Mexico and Colombia. He lived inside jungle shipyards, but visited Medellin in early 2022 for a deal, where he was captured in a joint operation involving Colombian police, army, and the U.S. DEA. Although his arrest was a big win, experts believe it barely scratches the surface. Thousands of tons of cocaine still move underwater every year. Old submarines are sunk after missions, and even now, somewhere deep in Colombian forests, new engineers are likely building more advanced, silent, unmanned narco-subs. As long as global demand for drugs remains high, these billion-dollar empires will continue finding new ways to stay alive.